folks, I'm the Bald Guy, and these are Bald Guy Basics. Most of you have an issue that you may not address very often, and because of that, you may not know exactly how to do it. But here I am in our master bathroom, which is quite small, and above my head there, you see the exhaust vent, and give it a listen. You're hearing a little bit of rattle, and more specifically, as you look there, you're finding that we've got what you all have from time to time. We have a buildup of lint. So today, I'm going to take a brief video and just show you how you can clean out your exhaust vent, and in most cases, you can do it without any special tools at all. So what I'm going to be using today, I just found an old paintbrush here. Paintbrush works really well to clean out the slats, where the air comes in, and that's where the lint builds up. And I'll also show you how you can lubricate the electric motor of the exhaust fan itself and make it sound a little better. It certainly help it to get rid of some of the grit that builds up in that. What you have in a bathroom is not just lint, and you get lint from a number of places. Dander from your towels, dander from your skin, and just dust is everywhere in the atmosphere, so it builds up. But you're getting it in a very moist environment. So with the moisture, when it passes through a vent like this, it tends to stick to things, and it solidifies on there. So from time to time, you're going to need to clean those out. So let me gather some of the other thing you're going to need is a vacuum cleaner. A vacuum cleaner, because you're not going to be able to catch all this lint. If you have one of those attachments with a brush that will allow you can actually do a lot of work. You can save yourself a lot of work, I guess is a better way to put it, with cleaning it that way. But either way, if you happen to have a can of that dust spray like you use on a computer keyboard, that can be advantageous for you. But the other thing you're going to need is a lubricant, something like a WD-40 or one of those similar oils that you can actually spray directly onto an electric motor, and it won't hurt a thing. So let me get set up a little differently here, and we'll walk you through it. All right, here we are. I'm standing on a kitchen chair. You need a good platform from which to work. And what I'm dealing with here is a little battery-powered, it's our vacuum cleaner that has a dust attachment here. So the first thing I'm going to do is just clean the dust that I can see. Everything I clean now, I don't have to get out of the floor later. You see the bread tie? Evidently, this spring broke at some time in the past, so I tied this up on one end. So I just need to get this end out, and I'll need my pocket knife, which is here. You should not have to worry about this kind of arrangement, but it's a wonderful way. Now see, this comes right out, and you see up in here, you see the debris that collects. Now most of these, your vent, the motor that is blowing the air goes up into a tube, and that tube is, with most of these, this is a less expensive model, is not vented to the outside, it's vented up into your attic. So, and underneath this bracket here, in the center of this little hub, that's the core of your motor where the armature is. And right there is the bottom of what I'll call the axle, where this thing spins on. And that's what we're going to lubricate. That is where dust begins to affect it. But I want to get my vacuum cleaner and just clean this up a little bit. And we'll clean up the inside of our vent cover. All right, I'm here in the kitchen, just in front of the kitchen sink here. And what we're going to do Any cleaner that you have is more than sufficient. Windex works well. I'm going to be using the Dawn Power Wash because you can spray suds right into the vent area. I'm going to wet my paintbrush and just use it to kind of scrub the debris between the slats here. I wanted something with bristles long enough to go all the way through, but also supple enough to bend around all the little angles and corners here. One thing you want to not do is put so much pressure on this. This is just plastic, and you can break these, which manufacturers would love. I'm going to do the same thing on the back side here. Just letting the suds break loose the debris. And I'm not super concerned that this is dinner plate clean, if you understand what I mean. It's a lint catcher, and it's going to go back to being a lint catcher. But it is obviously cleaner than what it was. All right, we're back here, and we're going to go back with our vacuum cleaner and just try to remove as much material as possible. Some of what you're seeing right here is actually the insulation that's been blown into the attic. Well, I really want to get it clean right there where you see it turning, so I will not only lubricate this axle, turn this off so you can hear me. I'll not only lubricate this axle, but I'm actually going to lubricate the space. This ends up, when it's electricity is on, ends up becoming an electromagnet, and the wires become magnetized, and that's what causes the whole thing to spin. But debris, see where it's spinning right here? The debris can cause you to a friction, a binding effect that will slow your fan down. So I'll actually do this live in just a moment, and you will hear a little bit of a difference with the fan, but let me go ahead and clean the rest of this. All right, we're going to turn our fan on. I'm going to climb back up here, and I'm going to start right on that axle with just a brief squirt. Now listen to this. I'm going to go just briefly at the top end as well. I'm not sure how much you can tell with the change of noise, but listen as it starts. That was where you heard a very distinct rattle. Now, what I can tell with the natural sound I'm hearing that's not recorded and then transmitted, I can hear that, number one, I have higher RPMs than I had before. So I've removed some of the debris that was causing a little bit of an abrasion. and I'm hearing slightly less noise. Now, I clean this every maybe 2 years. So if I could have gone back 4 or 5 years to the first time I did this, maybe 8 or 10 years, it's been quite some time, this thing sounded like a jalopy that was about to come out. But what you've seen with the vacuum is our normal vacuum. It just happens to detach. WD-40 is a normal tool. A paintbrush is a normal tool. I've not spent a dime on expensive tools. If your vacuum is a shop vac, that works too, especially if you've got a dust catcher on the end with the brush. If you don't, turn the switch off as we have here and take that paintbrush and just reach up in there and knock the stuff loose. When you do it that way, you're going to have to vacuum your floor, but it's not a big deal. It's a pretty easy clean. So I'm going to go back and pick up our vent. It should be dry by now. If not, I'll dry it off just a little bit, and we will attach it back with our bread tie, and we will be back in business. All right, we're back here with our finished product. I have our vent here, and if you see the bracket on the far side there, all this requires is for me to squeeze it and it'll fit into that bracket. When I get up there, I'll point it out again. But this was my jury-rigged idea of, I guess, on this one, I'm not sure. It doesn't look like the bracket is broke. So the spring either was broken or the spring was lost at some point. So to reinstall this thing is pretty simple. You see this bracket right here? What I will ultimately do is just slide that up into there and tension will hold it. But I'm actually going to start on this side and run my bread tie through. If you are someone who never has had to jury rig something, I have 3 words for you. Bless your heart. Now, the reason I jury rigged this is, number one, I wanted it to function as it should. So once I get these through, I'm going to pull these tight. But I'm not going to fasten them just yet. Number 2, I will attach this. See, we're done there, and just push it up. So I get him positioned like I want him. And guess what? These go up out of sight. And where's my trusty pocket knife? And just put them up where Mama won't see them very much. And that constitutes a clean vent. So the other thing I didn't show you, but a can of duster spray here, which if you have a computer, most people have this. You can actually use that and try to spray some of the lint on. When I did that, what I would do, I turned the vent on and sprayed it, and I allowed the vent to catch the dust and to carrying it on up into the dump basin, which is basically my attic. And there you have, without any extra expense, cleaned your bathroom vent. Well, folks, that's it for today's video. I hope you find that useful. If you have ideas for projects around the house that you're unsure of how to do, I can't do them all, but if there's one that I can do, just send me a message. I'd love to be able to help you figure out how you, as a non-professional, can do a job that is totally acceptable around your house. Have a good day.